Are you afraid of AI, losing your job, ending up homeless on the streets, being replaced, maybe even not having any more water or huge power bills because of the data centers near you? There's fears that are legitimate, and there are fears that are being induced by a lot of this AI hype by the AI companies, as we've talked about with Claude Mythos, a model so powerful and dangerous that it cannot even be released. And in today's episode of Tarot Tech News, I'd like to look at why is this happening? Why do AI companies do this? And we're going to start by looking at a BBC article that I prepared, which is what inspired me to discuss this. We understand a bit about what the motivations are. I think in this article by Thomas Germain, they're making the point that, okay, they built it, they're scared that they're selling it. Are they really scared? Are they really, what is happening? And I mean, there's a lot of people, especially on Anthropic side, where Dario Amodei keeps talking about how this is something that, it should be stopped, but somehow they're still forced to do it. It's sort of this kind of ambivalence. And it's really sending a lot of mixed signals. At the same time, literally, Sam Altman criticized this fear-based marketing in a podcast interview. So there is an acknowledgement that part of it is, in fact, marketing. And yet we're being told repeatedly that this is the future, even though actual experts, for example, Emily Bender, who is a professor of computational linguistics and author of the book The AI Con, says that this is a pattern of unsubstantiated claims of power. And this article has actually gotten me to think about my experience with fear about AI as an engineer, being told that I'm obsolete, what other people in the industry have felt, of course, the experiences of writers, of artists, and just the general sentiment in the startup community or in the world at large. And today I'm going to look at it from the perspective of a framework introduced by a Nobel Prize winning laureate. This is Elias Canetti, and his ideas around crowds and power. But yeah, first I'd like to just say that according to Shannon Valor, professor of ethics of data and AI, she makes this point that talking about the products as if they end the world is actually not something that has hurt the companies, and this works for them. And she makes the point that it makes people feel like the only ones that they could possibly look for protection are the companies themselves. And that got me thinking, that's a very, very good point. That's how I got to this crowds and power discussion, because in this framework, Canneti discusses how this emerges, and there's always a command at the center of it, that power gives people to get them to be in line, to get them to be part of the crowd. And in this case, the command, I would say, is pretty clear. It's Jensen Huang, for example, saying, you lose your job to somebody who uses AI. So it's not necessarily that you yourself would be in danger of being completely replaced, but someone that uses it will replace you. So it's not human. So it's not humans altogether being obsolete, but really people using it who will make you obsolete. And I mean, AI is a great tool, but at the same time, I mean, when I was at the Swiss Startup Days a couple of weeks ago, there was this general consensus by all the leaders there that everyone has to be doing AI, because if you don't do it, your competitors will, and this whole repetitive thing about AI will take your job, or whatever, someone using AI will take your job. And I have friends who have repeatedly made this point that is a fear-based argument, that a VC friend said that, we decided that this is the future. Somehow we have concluded that this is worth all these trillions of dollars in investments. We're moving forward with this. And it's been presented and framed as this kind of consensus that has emerged. And whether it's him, whether it's an engineer who's trying to use it for coding, no matter what that does to your skills, whether it's a marketer becoming an AI manager, spending money on courses, like there's just this fear that is pushing people. And I think that looking at it from Elias Canetti's perspective is very interesting, because he studied and was very interested in the phenomena of how power commands masses, how crowds form. And essentially, he starts by saying that, okay, as individuals, we have this ambivalent relationship to crowds, because on one hand, we want to preserve our independence, individuality, but also we need to be social. We're a social species, want to be part of groups. And so the crowd, as a mass phenomenon, it offers a way to sort of dissolve individuality, achieve equality. This is actually not something that the powerful really aspire to. The powerful want to survive. They want to be independent. They want to stay separate. They want to be above the crowd. They may want to control the crowd, but certainly not be of it. And in the crowd itself, like the key thing is we feel relieved by our sense of independence because of this density. Crowds love density, whether it's in concerts, in demonstrations or whatever, and the crowd would like to grow. So the more people that join it, the more safe and reasonable it feels that we are in it. And also the crowd needs direction, it needs somewhere to go. Like, we need something to do. Are we marching for some kind of political cause? Are we protesting against something that made us very angry? Are we mourning the dead? Canetti describes various cases. But the point is that this direction is offered by the powerful, which are on the outside, through commands. And these commands give the crowd direction. And this direction can be of various kinds, depending on the type of crowd. But the command itself gives direction and also produces obedience. And the obedience itself is actually something that is felt as a sting. It doesn't feel nice to be bossed around, ultimately. But at the same time, the obedience creates a need then, because of the sting, to also want to command someone else. Like, we kind of want to pass it along. And this is where the sting needs reversal. And this can go on for quite a bit, and being part of the crowd, being part of the mass movement. But ultimately, when panic emerges in the crowd, which is that the unity collapses, this is when the crowd itself, like, there's enough people inside of it that reach a critical mass of this is not acceptable. So we need to do things differently. And then the crowd falls apart. So with this view, I think that it's interesting to consider what this looks like from the perspective of the AI bubble, because I think that this framework is very helpful in understanding the mass phenomenon of the AI hype. So I prepared a tarot spread to understand this. And this has 7 cards that I will, leave here on the screen. These are the positions in our tarot spread, and I'm going to pull some cards and make some comments along the way. So here we're going to use the Kabbalah Gnostic Tarot. This is the Rider-Waite set that I mentioned, the one that introduces the feudal, the techno-feudal. So these are sort of more these old school kind of drawings. And as I mix the cards, we're talking about these 7 trumpets because they're more, it's supposed to evoke the kind of revelation type story, right? So, people, even in the tech community, have been talking about the Antichrist these days with Peter Thiel. So I just thought it makes sense that we have something that is a little nod to that with the 7 trumpets of Revelations, hence the name of the spread. So the first question is, what is it about this techno-feudalist system? This is the power in this case. This is the capitalist BC industrial complex of Silicon Valley, this whole crazy hype, this just general idea of, okay, we need to move forward. This would be probably at the top NVIDIA itself with Jensen Huang. So the first card here that we get is the 8 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups is about disappointment and, leaving something that hasn't really worked out. And I guess here, I mean, for NVIDIA personally, like they've done a lot of GPUs and gaming. That's been the thing in the past. But I mean, of course, the general desire to go and transcend that makes sense. And I think that in a sense of leaving something behind, there's also the sense for me that in the tech community, a lot of it is also tied to this desire to achieve this post-human state, that, you know, we reach AGI, we get to the end of the world, essentially. And so we leave our human condition behind. So that is sort of the what they want to leave behind. So that's been already kind of unsatisfying for them, because like they've reached the pinnacle of human life. I mean, they have all the resources possible. So at this point, like there's nothing else to do in this game of life. So we need to move past it. The command itself now, I would say that it's use AI. That seems to be the key thing. There's an implicit or else, right, with the threat. And let's see, what are we being told to obey? Here we have, as a card, we have the Six of Cups as the card. So I think here it's about remembering past situations. I mean, I think that a lot of people with the Six of Cups would really talk about the industrial revolution, right? This AI revolution is like the next industrial revolution, or if you will, if we think about it in terms of the AI bubble, I mean, there was the web bubble, right? The .com boom and then bust in the 90s and 2000s. So this is just a cycle of things. And in this case, I guess also what's interesting is that this figure is getting this cup. So there's a certain promise here, right? Like, you use AI, and this is actually something that will help you, right? Will make you more productive. It will make you, transcend your limitations. I guess that's sort of the general thing, right? Like you can make a new business, you can make billions of dollars, you can become an entrepreneur, you can do anything you want, right? So this is kind of the implicit promise in the AI bubble. It's funny that also there's been a lot of cups here, like between the 8 and 6 of cups. Now, in terms of what we fear, what is explicitly feared, I would say that this is this death, obsolescence, irrelevance, that, okay, if we don't do it, someone else will. And I think that if you refuse to do it, right, this is just going to make you exposed. It'll make you vulnerable. It will make you be out of the crowd, which is potentially threatening because the crowd wants to increase in number. And also, I think that with the flagrant copyright violations and stealing of artists' work, we could definitely see that the AI companies have demonstrated so much power that they are essentially able to, invalidate existing laws. Like, if normal people would download illegal books, like or movies, there was this huge thing with piracy that they would be opposed. But if huge companies do it, it's somehow okay. So that just shows this double-edged sword. In that case, double standard, I should say. But the fear, why is refusal dangerous? Well, refusal is dangerous because of the tower. So that's precisely it, right? Like, we're gonna be leveled. Like, this AI, I guess, revolution. It's just so disruptive. We're gonna fall out of our comfortable nest. Like, our tower will collapse. Like, all of what we built, all the skills, all the experience, this will just be effectively for nothing. I mean, we're getting this rude wake-up call from reality, and we don't want to lose our status. I mean, ultimately, we worked very hard to build it. These are skills that have been developed over a lot of time, right? For artists, for engineers, for whoever else it is. And of course, we don't want to be in this situation. So that's a very clear fear that is being very skillfully used by these folks. Now, in terms of the crowd, right, the AI community. So, I mean, what is it that this, what is the promise? Why do people want to join? Why do people want to stay? What is actually happening here? What is being promised? So here as the card we will have a justice. Interesting. So justice is, fun enough, it's fairness, right? It's actually like, okay, we can finally maybe get what is ours. Like, it's somehow, if you have, like, I think this point about being empowered, you know, like if you have great ideas, that nothing should stand in your way, right? This is kind of a lot about what the discussion is, right? Like if you have a great idea, you don't have the skills, like why do you need a pesky engineer or writer or whatever? You can just get AI and they will you know, do it for you. So it's kind of like being able to impose your will, give yourself the tools to make yourself even more relevant here, right? Like the promise is you know, finally you can make it. And you can, if the world has felt unjust before, right, because of the inequality, like finally AI is actually a tool that will bring this justice out there, because it's sort of a great equalizer in that sense. And you know, of course you want that, right, because it's this great opportunity for wealth creation, and that's certainly something that many people desperately need, especially after the deindustrialization of the West, as I was saying in this techno-feudal May 1st episode. So, okay, if that's the promise, that you can finally take justice into your own hands, what is the direction here that we're going into? I mean, we've seen a lot of changes in the community over the last years, right? With like, okay, we're gonna have productivity improvements. We're gonna make more of whatever videos, marketing copy, I don't know, you know, programs and so on. Then we're gonna make agents. So we're gonna, you know, you're gonna have people to command, like robots to command, actually, right? Like that's part of the promise. Like you're ordered to obey, but now you get to command machines yourself. And then, of course, finally, the ultimate direction is this whole AGI fantasy about how, you know, we're gonna reach some kind of like singularity and superhuman intelligence. And here, yeah, where does it? What is this about? And I call this direction, but yeah, here we have the Knight of Pentacles as the card here. This sort of shows that the gains haven't really been materializing at the speed that they have been promised. I mean, this is the Pentacles represent money, and the Knight of Pentacles, compared to all the other knights in the tarot, he's stationary. He's not moving. He's just kind of like, you know, waiting here, you know, surveying the terrain, like trying to get the coins. But the thing is, I mean, is it really, like, are we really moving forward to this future? I think that's kind of the issue. It's not quite happening like that, as we'll see in the next card. But I think that the problem here also is that it's kind of creating space for a lot of grifters, a lot of people who, you know, see this as, well, given that AI is such a great equalizer, why do you need experts? If the AI is essentially like a PhD researcher, why should you hire actual PhDs? And everyone kind of feels so empowered that sort of within the crowd, you achieve equality by basically saying that it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't really matter what you know or don't know, because the AI is so intelligent that, you know, it will, you know, make it happen. So that's the great promise of equality, but also as we have been finding, and as people are finding out, it turns out that, you know, as well, we've known this in the machine learning community for a long time, but, you know, garbage in, garbage out. So at the end of the day, if you're incompetent, you can have all the AI you want, you will still make sloppy crap. So this brings me to the sting. This is what Canetti says eventually causes questions for the crowd. Like, okay, eventually, okay, you obey, you use the AI, you spend the money, you pay the subscriptions, you do the thing, and then what? Well, then your output is the same as everyone else who uses AI. Then you just end up with a bunch of money spent on various tools that are not actually helpful, and you are left with things that are derivative and samey. So, oh, I actually had a card fall out that I didn't pick up. Okay, well, let's just pull this one since you just wanted to jump. So the sting is not living up to the promises. Yeah, so if the promises were this 11 of Wands, that, this is our amazing vision, we're going to this castle in the distance, it's something that we're gonna, reaching AGI or whatever, I think that in this case, this whole thing is pretty much not delivering. I mean, the ROI improvements aren't really there. The business value hasn't really translated into anything tangible yet. And the question is, like, can the character here, like, has been going on this journey, like, are they able to cross this river or not? Or is the river actually going to be such a powerful torrent eventually as more and more unhappiness kind of starts materializing, that this will sweep them and maybe even the castle away? Because this whole promise of empowerment thing, I mean, I haven't really seen it. I've seen, like, a lot of people get rich but kind of profiting from the fear and marketing hype. That's certainly what's been happening. But in terms of a lot of value delivered, I mean, certainly some value has been delivered, and I think there are some cool AI systems, but the whole GPT wrapper type approach, I am kind of unsure about, or all the flood of vibe, whatever, the deluge of vibe coded apps, I mean, or the AI slob videos. I'm not sure about that. So let's finally wrap it up with the last card, the panic that will instill eventually as the sting kind of becomes more and more, right, as this doesn't really unfold. What was all this for? Why did we do this? What was the point? I mean, for power, it's about surviving, it's about consolidating, and the reason ultimately is because the emperor reversed. We did it because people in power wanted it, because they wanted to control, because they wanted to just direct. And the emperor is actually an interesting card to come up in this case, because the emperor is the one who commands. It's the power. So it was something that is just happening because it's a way to consolidate power for these companies. Like, as we're moving towards cloud systems, these things require massive amounts of investment. Like, personal freedoms are being taken away. You're not running a lot of these AI systems on your own machines. You're running them on the cloud, on these extremely expensive, I'm going to just put this in the middle, on this extremely expensive hardware. And it just means that there's just no way that this is possible for normal people. So then, if everything is controlled and consolidated, they can spy on us, they can analyze us, monitor our activity, do all of these things. And it's about control at the end of the day. I mean, why have your own computing platforms when you can just rely on the cloud? Can you even afford a decent computer these days? I mean, RAM prices have been through the roof. Why would you want to run your own AI infrastructure? Do you have the machine capacity to do that? No, you need to run it in these big data centers. So it's about consolidation of power, and even the possible analysis monitoring that's happening in terms of the AI usage, right? Like, this is all going back to this general theme of the emperor. So to wrap it up, I mean, I think that as people sort of maybe wake up to this slowly, right? Like, I think that it's funny how this sort of came out, like these three major arcana, like, promise justice, because with the threat of the tower, that we're gonna all collapse and everything will be for nothing. But actually you'll be able to make it, and then actually this is really about, at the end of the day, controlling people. And I think this is not the direction we should go. in the industry. I think that this is absolutely the opposite of personal empowerment. It's centralization of control, and that's something that we should strive to go against. And I hope that this message goes out there. And certainly when it comes to my own AI products, I prefer making small AI models that run locally. And I think more builders in this space should take this approach. And I think that this is gonna stay. Like the technology fundamentally is great one, but this whole expansion and bloating and this fear-based thing, it needs to stop. This is not what we need. So with that, thank you and have a great week, and all the best.